Hey, this is AJ, and in today's video, we're going to talk about how to get one-star reviews as a handyman, or more importantly, how to avoid getting one-star reviews from a handyman. So I'm going to go over 7 different kind of principles or things that generally lead to these. And I've come to the conclusion by kind of researching a bunch of one-star handyman reviews across the country. I'll talk about 7 different things, but it generally boils down to expectation management. Did you meet the expectations that the client you were working for had? So I'll touch on some of those things of how you can tweak those things up, as well as the importance of how damaging that can be to your reputation, especially when you're starting off. So stay tuned. So before we get into it, let's just talk about the damage that a one-star review can do. If you're a brand new business and you have no reviews, it could be devastating, right? It's very hard to climb back from that. If you have 20, 30, yeah, not so bad, but it's still a blemish. If you have a couple hundred, it's not that big of a deal. So it's really important that you apply these principles early in your business, because if you do get a couple of one-star reviews, you might as well shut down your Google profile and start over again. So with that being said, let's talk about the several different things that generally lead to a bad review. And I mentioned in the intro that it has to do with expectation management. So whenever you're in a relationship with a client, a professional relationship with a client, you have expectations on their end and they have expectations on their end. The tough part is the communication to make sure that those expectations are communicated well enough between both parties so they understand kind of what they're getting. So with that being said, I'm going to kind of talk about the 7 different principles and how that principle of communication kind of plays across them. The first one is poor customer service, right? If you're rude, you're unprofessional in your interactions, you lack responsiveness, you fail to resolve problems, most people don't expect that, right? And you might say, well, I'm giving the lowest price. They should expect that. Communicate that, right? You might want to say, if you're in that boat and you feel that way, you might want to say, hey, listen, I'm doing this on the cheap. So there's no sense in being rude to anybody, but you could say, hey, listen, I'm super busy. I may not be able to get back to you as soon as possible. However, I will get back to you. Failure to resolve problems adequately. These are all signs of poor customer service. And if you didn't set your expectations up front, kind of shame on you, right? So the takeaway from this is don't provide poor quality or poor customer service. Strive to be pleasant to people when you go work with them. Include, how often you're going to communicate with them, how you're going to communicate with them. Address problems quickly. There's an old saying that bad news doesn't get better with age. If there's a problem, just be open and upfront about it. I see a lot of people, especially when they're starting off, that are afraid to say they don't know how to do something or they don't know how to do this or that. I do that all the time. People ask me to do a job, and what's the shame in saying that I haven't done this job before? I'm not very good at this job. There's no shame in that, right? Just be straight, upfront, and straight with them. A perfect example of mine is drywall. I'm terrible at drywall. I've tried to be good at it. I've communicated to people that I'm not very good. I'm getting better. If you want to take your chances with me, go ahead. And most people pass. So, well, no, I don't want that. Well, great. I won and you won. But the point is, I'm upfront with people with that. So the second one, kind of leading into drywall, is poor quality of work, right? Know what you're good at and don't do things that you're not good at. And if that limits you and what you can do, then so be it. Try to focus on the things that you are good at. But if you're not good at things, just straight up do not do them. If you make mistakes during the job, if the customer thought you were going to hang the picture here and you hung it here, that's poor quality of work. So you need to change it, you need to repair it. Don't get upset, don't get mad. The expectation was it was here, you put it here. That's poor quality of work. So try to let your customer know what your standards are, what you're capable of doing. Trim work is a good example. If somebody hires you to do crown molding, it's not easy, right? And if you're not good at it, have never done it, do not do crown molding for people because you're going to mess it up and you're going to screw it up and you're going to have poor quality work. So the takeaway is just avoid things where you do perform, your quality is not good. Just don't do those types of jobs, or build up the skills in some other form or fashion until you can provide quality of work. But in the meantime, I would recommend stick to the jobs that you can do quality, so you avoid those. The third one is being unprofessional. This can manifest itself in terms of being tardy, no show, inappropriate behavior, dishonesty, lack of communication. You see this all the time when people are looking for somebody on Facebook or Nextdoor. They're trying to find somebody, and you'll see, oh, so and so ghosted me. They never showed up. You'll read that in the types of reviews. I joke around that that's my number one selling feature, is that I'm always there. I'm always on time. I always communicate back and forth with my customers. And as a part-time guy, sometimes I don't get back to them for a while. And again, back to expectation management, in my voicemail, it says, hey, I'm working during the daytime. And if you call me after the daytime, I might be doing a handyman job and I'm probably working as well. So, please be patient. If you want to information from me, either leave a message here or go to my website, and I'll submit an estimate request, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Trying to maintain that professionalism, trying to maintain that professionalism. The next one, going into number 4, is miscommunication. This involves unclear expectations, again, as we talked about earlier, misunderstanding about pricing or scope of work. So me personally, and I'm going to talk about pricing issues a little bit separately, but if you set a price, stick to it. And if it was more work than you thought it was going to be, eat it. If the client changes the scope of work from what you had initially agreed on, then that's a different story. But the only way to use that as a baseline is to have all that stuff in writing. That's why I recommend using a CRM system like Markate or Jobber to be clear. This is what I'm doing. I'm installing 3 light fixtures in ceilings that are less than 12 feet tall. You're providing the light fixtures. Wiring is already in place. Kind of clear communications, because that leads to the price, right? In that case, maybe it's $500 for me to put those lights in. But if I show up and I'm like, oh, you got a nice house, it's going to be $900, right? Whoa, that's unprofessional. That's bad. Hopefully I showed up on time, but if you're not showing up on time, you're no show, you're tardy, you're not communicating with people. It's just bad miscommunication. So try to invest in systems that help you with your communication. Again, CRMs are great tools for this. I use Markate. It lets people know when I've scheduled their appointments, lets them know when I started work, when I've completed work. It sends the invoices. People are blown away with that kind of stuff. And for $30, $40 a month, depending on what package you get, you really can't beat it. So if you're on the fence about getting a system like that, get it. You can do a 14-day free trial. There's links out there. I probably have one, but I won't put it in the video here. But the point is communicate clearly. And that message, that system will allow you to come across as a very professional person. Moving on to number 5, price issues. I talked about this a little bit earlier, but you see a lot of people feeling like they got ripped off. This is a touchy one, right? Because sometimes people feel like they got ripped off even though you told them the price of the job. I saw a post on this the other day. Somebody had to go to somebody's house and drill holes in the cabinets to put dishwasher hoses through, right? So they told him, hey, it's going to be, for me to go over to your house, it's going to be $250 for me to drill those holes. Prices are different in different places, but the homeowner agreed. He showed up, he drilled the holes in 7 minutes and he left, right? And the homeowner was irate. It was 7 minutes to drill a hole. You charged me $250. Like, maybe he could have said it was going to be a quick job. It's $250. You can get somebody else, but that's a tricky one, right? With the prices, all you can really do is tell them what your price is, give them a rough estimate of how much time it's going to take. It's up to them to decide if they want to take that deal or not, right? People have choices. People make choices all the time, right? They can go to Walmart to get to something, or they can go to Target to get something, right? Why do they go to Target? They want a different experience, right? It's the same stuff, but they want a different experience and they're paying a higher price for things. The same thing with your services. You follow the other things, customer service, the quality of work, the professionalism, your prices, people will just accept them. What I would not recommend is having any hidden fees, right? So you said your price is $250. Oh, by the way, I have an add-on for this and an add-on for that. And if you want to check a bag, like the airlines do, it's going to be a little bit more. that could be pretty frustrating. And if you just raise the prices arbitrarily for a mistake that you made on your end, if you said it's going to be $1,000 for the job and you got there and you realize, oh shoot, I should have charged 2,000, you can have the conversation, but I would stick to my guns and take that as a learning lesson. I spent $1,000 to learn not to do that again. If you watch a lot of my videos, I have a lot of learning in that area, and you're going to have that learning as well. So what's worse, a 1-star review or losing $1,000 on a job? You gotta make that call. Number 6 is delays in scheduling problems. Again, can't emphasize the use of a CRM enough. If whatever your process is, mine happens to be, um, you know, somebody will submit an estimate request. I'll put all that stuff together. We'll work out some dates. I put them on the schedule, and then that's pretty much it. I just wait till that scheduled date comes up, and I go and I do the job. Very rarely do I have to shift things around, but if you do, you gotta let people know and let them know as soon as you can. I was on a call the other night with a bunch of handymen, and they had this little idea that I didn't think about before. But if you have to bump somebody, say, "Hey, do you mind if I bump you? I'm really sorry for the inconvenience. I can give you a 10% discount if that's okay with you, because I feel terrible about this." A lot of people will accept that. So just make sure that you're on top of scheduling. You're notifying people. A CRM again is a great way to do that. And then finally, I would probably close with warranty or guarantee issues. If you tell people, hey, I guarantee my work, and if you ever have a leak here or this doesn't work, just give me a call back. Uh, a lot of people might wait, right? If you, especially the kind of work that you did, give it a little bit of time, make sure the ceiling fan doesn't fall down or whatever. If you guaranteed them that you would come back and take care of it, then stick by your word. A lot of people never come back up, right? They maybe take the money and they just leave. And you see this stuff; it's all over the place. It's on Facebook and Google. It's all over the place. So if you do say I warranty and I guarantee my work, stick to it, and people will understand that and appreciate it. So I can't guarantee that if you stick to these 7 principles that you're not going to get a 1-star review, or you're not going to get a fake and malicious review. The different platforms that are out there that do collect reviews, and I've been speaking mostly to kind of the Google review, but there are ways to try to address some of these things. But from my understanding, it's pretty tough to get them changed once they're in there. So all you can really do is try to prevent them from the beginning or from the get-go. And if you do happen to get one, instead of responding immediately all pissed off, reflect on it, right? Take a day or two to reflect on it. What did they say? Is it really true? Did any of these 7 issues that I talked about here, did they pop up? Was I guilty of any of these types of things? And instead of you writing an emotionally led reply to that, here's what I would recommend. Separate the emotion, type in or copy the review that you got, paste it into an AI engine, and say, what's a proper way to reply to this 1-star review that I just received from my business? And it'll come back, right? It'll come back with soft language. Take that language, see what it says, tweak it a little bit, but whoever's reading your reviews, they're not only reading that 1-star review, but they're reading how you responded to it. So this is maybe one of the other tools you have in your arsenal to try to build back a little favor with people. We're all used to seeing the person that just can't be pleased, that might just write a 1-star review. And when you get one of those types of cases, you'd be like, I'm sorry, we laid out these expectations. I delivered on my end. I apologize if I did not meet expectations on your end. I will strive to do better. I appreciate the feedback. And then that's it, right? Leave it there. Because people will read that. I'm like, oh, okay, he responded nicely. It's about the only saving grace you have in those things. Anyway, those are my 7 tips for how to avoid a 1-star review. If you like this kind of content and appreciate it, go ahead and give me a thumbs up, let me know, and stay tuned for the next one. Thanks.